Hello, everybody. Welcome to Take the Black Live, the show where myself, Dan Selcke of RoomsComing.net, and Mia Johnson, editor at fansided.com, talk about all things Game of Thrones, Song of Ice and Fire, Star Wars, Doctor Who, Westworld, Disney, superheroes, anything nerdy under the sun, and distill it all for you and give you the lowdown, what you need to know every day, all the time. Mia, How are you today?
I'm doing good. Coming off of a faux false snow day.
Oh, yeah.
Yesterday.
There was a bit of a false alarm.
Yeah.
We're in Chicago, if you don't know, and there's Chicago's always under constant threat of snowpocalypse, of just an avalanche from the sky. And sometimes it goes through. We've had some awful snow days in the past. Were you here for the 2011 snowpocalypse?
Yeah, it was the first time we actually shut down the Chicago public schools in a very long time. Off topic, but
very much so.
Weather's worth mentioning.
By the way, hello Jen. Hey Sherry.
Hello.
On topic, I can say
yes.
George R. Martin went to school in Northwestern. And he was inspired by a snowpocalypse in the 70s. I'm not kidding. You can look this up. He said, he was kind of waffling, but he was sort of inspired to create the Wall from Game of Thrones because of these giant ice walls.
I can definitely see that.
Oh, yeah. It gets bad here. Very bad. When it's bad in Chicago, it's bad. Right now, it's actually pretty nice.
Yeah, it's pretty decent. It's a nice light sprinkling of snow.
And hello, Sherry. Hello, Louise. Hey, everybody. Hello, Nicole. And I thought we would kick today off with some Game of Thrones, Song of Fire adjacent news, as we like to do. Glad I am down south. Honest to God, I like the South too. I kind of like the seasons, but listen, I think it's worth the occasional freak snowstorm in Chicago to live up here. But, there are charms to all kinds of places.
Yeah.
Anyway, Game of Thrones news of the week is that David Benioff and Dan Weiss, the Game of Thrones showrunners, men of mystery, controversy, intrigue, just, towering public
all around
figures.
Great guys.
They've had quite a journey since the end of Game of Thrones. Yeah. They were going to make a Star Wars trilogy, and then, Last Jedi and Rise of Skywalker, and just he thought, we need to rethink everything, and we'll get to that later, what we're doing with that. That didn't pan out. Decided to deal with Netflix, a giant deal with Netflix, hundreds of millions of dollars. Mm-hmm. And they directed Leslie Jones' comedy special.
Which I watched.
Oh, yeah, was it good?
I watched. It was decent. She's good. She has her moments. Again, I still have no idea how you can direct a comedy special, but my hat's off to them.
If Martin Scorsese can, direct, a concert of the band and, get legendary for it, I'm sure you can direct a comedy special.
I guess.
You know what I bet? I bet it's one of those things where, you don't notice if it's directed well, but if it's directed badly, you're like, who shot this?
Yeah.
That's what I'm betting.
You know what? Maybe the only thing I could see is because it's on screen, you have to kind of, give them directions. Okay, the camera's going to do this. For instance, there's, a tracking shot of her, entering the stage, coming on stage. So it's okay, the camera's going to follow you. Don't panic. This is how the shot's going to go, and then the rest. That's all I can think of.
And Sherry asked if they flop again. Well, you can decide for yourself, Sherry. So the news is they unveiled their first kind of big Netflix project. I want to say first, but they did do the Leslie Jones thing.
Yeah.
Which, was a nice little dip in the water.
Yeah.
So Benioff and Weiss took the curtain back on their first Netflix show, which is going to be a very non-Game of Thrones-y drama called dramedy, I should say, was the word the press release was using, called The Chair. Let me just hear you. When you hear The Chair, what do you think it's about?
Let's see. The Chair.
The Chair. From the makers of Game of Thrones comes The Chair.
I can
on
almost
Netflix.
see it being either a really kind of haunting thing about honestly a haunted chair. I know that's not what it's about, but it could be one of those oh gosh, what am I thinking? Not the Purge movies, but like in that realm, or not the Purge, but one of the horror movies, or something about
Conjuring.
Somebody kind of Conjuring. That's what I'm thinking of. I know what this is about, more of being the chair of something. So I can definitely see it being the leader, oh, I am the chair. I rule with an iron fist or something like that.
Nicole's electrocuting people.
Oh.
Which is a good one. But no, it is about the chair of an English department at a major American university played by Sandra Oh.
Yeah.
With Jay Duplass. We don't know anything about it. It's obviously a modern set drama, The chair of an English department, university dramedy. And apparently it's more the brainchild of Benioff's wife, actress Amanda Peet, who was in the spotlight for like a 5-year period back in the 2000s. Like she had some pull. Apparently they pitched this to HBO a while back, but HBO passed, and now they're back here on Netflix doing it.
Yeah.
Apparently Amanda Peet's going to be the one who, there she was, Benioff.
Yeah. The
one to actually like do the show running. She's writing the pilot with someone else. She'll be executive producing with Benioff, with Weiss, and with Bernadette Caulfield, who was also a huge Game of Thrones person. Like she was really a big producer on that. So, okay, so I have two things.
Yes.
The first bit is, how does this strike you as a Game of Thrones follow-up? The Chair, 6-part American University dramedy.
You know what? It has potential. I think because it's HBO, because it's them.
It's Netflix.
Oh, that's right. It's Netflix.
Oh, yeah. They did not sign a deal with Warner Media.
Yeah.
We're not sure if they were offered, but we know that there was like a bidding war for them going around for a while, and they went with Netflix at the end of the day.
Wow. I can see it being kind of like dramatic. The only like college TV like show, well, I guess there's tons of college TV shows. I'm thinking of like Community, so that's obviously like a comedy.
Sure.
So I'm like, where can we find the drama?
The Education of Max Bickford, an incredibly short-lived Richard Dreyfuss vehicle on CBS back in 2000, 2001, was about him as a college professor. It's the only other thing I could possibly think of.
Oh, we're going
There are a lot of
vault.
dramas that are like just at a college and you're a university professor.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Maybe there could be like, I could see them throwing in like an admissions scandal, that type of storyline. Maybe there's like some, I never watched How to Get Away with Murder, but was she a professor?
I think she's at law school or something.
At law school. So there is a lot of drama to be had in the academic realm.
Well, I think the thing is that, like, you hear Game of Thrones, your mind just goes to, okay, so when does the horse guy come in with a sword and chop off the director's head? As Sherry asked, the much drama at a university. I mean, it looks like they're going to do something a lot more. If I had to guess, I'd say, why don't we do the opposite of epic hordes of battles and just like obviously a smaller scale sort of thing. I mean, there's plenty to explore at a drama at a university.
Yeah.
Like admission scandals are one thing. You can do, all these controversies about, are schools too liberal? Are like their safe space stuff? I can see them attacking that kind of thing.
Yeah.
People where they have these controversial speakers come in, yada yada yada.
I can already smell the storyline where she's like conflicted about dating one of the professors or like the dean
or the students.
Yeah. That too. There's always got to be like some sort of love complication or love triangle.
Really,
there.
we have no idea.
Yeah.
I'm completely pulling out of my butt. I don't know. But I mean, I don't mind it. And I kind of like that they're not going to dive into another giant, epic, sweeping epic.
Yeah.
Like,
no, that's fine by me. They can
try something different.
Branch out.
The other point I wanted to make is that part of it sounded because, by what Jen says, I swear it was sounding like modern Game of Thrones, but no armor, but suit and tie. That could happen too. Yeah. I love it for like to become that. Like at first it's like a very light community-like comedy, but by season 4, it's like people are marching in their suits and like, I will oust the department head of the King Jump department. Probably not. Part of me wonders if, because it's Amanda Peet's apparently it's her brainchild, she's the one who's going to be doing it, if like they're just going to be the producers on this, but they're really going to be themselves digging their hands into some other project that's more their brainchild.
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering. I feel like it's going to be more of her thing, and then it's just kind of got their stamp on it. They're like, we're here to back you up, to kind of do whatever you need help with. But I feel like she's probably going to fly with it, which is fine by me. Yeah,
Netflix has like 80,000 jillion properties. What's one more? Go ahead. I mean, right now we don't really know much, so I'll just watch and see what happens next.
Yeah,
with
as
it
it develops. I think it's got potential, though. I mean,
I like Sandra Oh.
Yeah,
Sandra Oh is a good actress.
We can all agree on that.
Yeah, and I know Jay Duplass from stuff too, but I can't off the top of my head remember it. But yeah, she's good in Killing Eve and everything. Yeah. So yeah, go Sandra Oh, go Benioff, go Weiss, go Pete. Have fun with The Chair.
Yes.
Coming this fall to Netflix, maybe. I don't know, that's for sure. Maybe next spring. Anyway, in other sort of business news, a huge thing dropped yesterday.
Yeah.
So after over a decade, I think like over 15 years, Bob Iger, the CEO of Disney, which is, I'm going to go out on a limb and say the most powerful entertainment company in the world, Maybe Tencent could equal them over in China, but definitely in the West.
Yes.
Is stepping down. Bob Iger is no longer the president of Disney, effective immediately. Pictured here with Mickey.
Pictured on the left is Bob Iger.
Yeah, the left is Bob Iger. The right, I think it's probably a fan or something.
It's a fan. It's a mouse. Some guy.
And he is being replaced by a gentleman named Bob Chapek, who is only going to be, by the way, the 7th CEO in the history of Disney. This company been around for like almost 100, like 90 something years.
Yeah.
And it has had 7 people in charge of it. These guys have long tenures.
Yeah. I think what's fascinating, and I wrote a story about this and I tweeted, is that you can kind of like look through the lens and every like Disney CEO puts their own distinct like flair on it and they have their own era. So I would say like
Eisner was like the revival of
Eisner was I go on and on and on about Eisner, but he started out kind of strong because we got like the and that's up there. We've got Chapek. He was the.
He's not sneezing.
No.
His eyes just look like that.
He was like this guy is a chairman on the Disney Parks, or like the executive chair on Disney Parks board or something. That he just had. He got that role in 2018, but they said he has been working for Disney since like 1993. He knows his Disney stuff.
These are lifers we're talking about.
Yeah, he knows his Disney stuff, but like back to like the Michael Eisner, it's like where you can start to begin to feel like what they're going for. So we did have like the Disney Renaissance with him.
That was
like,
him, right?
Beauty
that was
and the Little Mermaid, yeah, Aladdin, all those things. And then there was something where it just kind of like pivoted, and it was just like downhill from there, where you've got things like, he's making like questionable choices like for Disney parks. And there was one thing where Roy E. Disney, he was like, basically he was working for the company and he protested having Michael Eisner removed because he was doing such a terrible job running the company. And that's when Bob Iger stepped in.
Yeah, I mean, and Iger has had quite the tenure. Some of his hit parade. I mean, he bought Marvel, which has to be maybe the best purchase of an entertainment decision in the past, like, 50 years, because that obviously spawned the MCU. Huge, untold, ridiculous success. I think that's a clear win for him. Bought Pixar.
Yeah.
I mean, if Disney animation was starting to kind of go down after the Renaissance, that ensured that they would still be on the forefront of it.
Yeah.
And they made Frozen, so, like, they were back in top anyway. Bought Lucasfilm, which, gave us the new Star Wars movies.
Yeah.
Maybe it wasn't quite as successful, but still a big purchase.
It's still.
I mean, basically, this guy oversaw Disney's expansion from really prominent brand to entertainment ubermensch.
Yeah, I feel like he did a lot of patching up for the brand. Kind of like, you did have the Disney Renaissance. Things were kind of like slipping-ish, like 2000s was... I wouldn't say like a super quiet period, but they were going through some things, got things like failed Disney Quest. I'm trying to think of like any 2000s movies. Lilo and Stitch was good though, so that was fine. I think that was like 2003-ish or something, but it was like really kind of slow, and they were like, we don't know what to do. So I think Bob Iger kind of stepped in to patch things up. And you have not seen the Imagineering story, have you?
I've not.
Okay. You probably don't care as much as I do about like the intricacies
you are
of like
a Disney
aficionado. I am way more into Disney than I thought I would be. So the Imagineering story kind of broke down like really like with each CEO, like how did they have an effect on Disney parks,
Sure.
and to some extent also the movies and all that stuff. Gosh, I got so into it. I don't even know where I was going. We're talking about the Imagineering story. We're talking about the Disney CEOs. And then, right. So I think the whole idea of like being a Disney CEO, like what does it mean? Is they're like, well, it's really just to embody the spirit of Walt Disney. And I'm getting the look on your face.
Sorry, I am a little bit.
But no, that's the whole thing. It's
that
like,
certainly sounds something the Disney company would say about its CEOs.
It was like when Walt Disney died, nobody knew what to do. They were so confused. They were running around like chickens with their heads cut off. They were like, well, we don't have Walt to tell us what to do, so what the heck do we do?
Have you heard like crazy stories about that? Like Walt Disney like recorded footage of himself before he died that he played like 5-10 years after his death.
Oh my gosh.
To people he knew would be in the room. He would even like go,
Ooh.
and you, Lester, I want you to put this Parks like 10 years after he died. And Lester's like, sit there, Lester, here's your name tag. Strange man.
That's really, I have never heard that one before. But yeah, so I think it's kind of like they want that like Walt Disney figure. Obviously they want somebody who can think creatively, somebody who can like push boundaries and all those sorts of things. So that's kind of like basically on this guy Chapek's shoulders.
Oh yeah.
To do now.
And I mean, again,
he's got a lot.
He has a ton. I mean, again, under Iger's tenure, the company expanded to levels where I am now basically afraid of Disney because they're so powerful.
Yeah.
Because they do own Marvel and they do own, ABC and they do own Lucasfilm, and now they have Disney Plus, which also was another Iger success,
Right.
which is now a giant major streaming service. I mean, can they keep growing forever? I think that's the kind of thing that Chapek's gonna have to deal with. I mean, it's weird to think that this big monolith, all big monoliths, companies like this, obviously they have their own momentum, but the person at the top does matter a lot. Like, and you're totally right that you can trace the history of this company, of any company, or a country even, through the people at the very top and what happens during their tenures. Maybe it's not all they're doing, because, anything that big, I'm hesitant to put it all on, like, one person does everything.
Yeah.
It's like a movie, like, we say the director did it, but really there's so many people involved.
Exactly,
It's like, there's a lot of contributions. Same thing with the company, but it definitely matters
It does.
when there's a new CEO at a place this big. And I wish Bob Chapek luck, and I just say, don't be too evil, because that's what I'm always afraid of Disney doing, is getting too evil. Is
Yeah, they're
using
really
their
gonna
powers
turn.
for bad. They really haven't I mean, I don't think they've really done it yet. I've enjoyed what they're doing. I have Disney Plus. I like the MCU, yada, yada, yada.
Yeah.
I just worry about so much power in one place.
I get that. I definitely get that. It's interesting. It's like, though, he's got like people like Kathleen Kennedy and like Kevin Feige
thank
who like
goodness.
are heading their departments. So it's kind of like, okay, you can run and do your own thing, just like check in with me every so often. So maybe that'll help him. But like when it comes down to it, there have been times where it's like with Disney parks, it's like one guy doesn't really care about Disney parks, so they're going to get cut funding or something like that. So like if he doesn't care about something, it might get cut. We might not see anymore. We might see some really big changes. So that's probably not going to happen in the next year, but maybe next couple of years we'll start seeing
No
Disney
more
changes.
movies. We're just making slot machines now. That's what's going to happen to Disney under Bob Chapek.
Ching, ching, ching.
Let's answer some questions here in the comments before we move on to our
what's
next
going on?
topic. Really quick, let's do a little writing around. You guys are right. There is mention of Mark Hamill joining the cast of The Witcher, which it's not confirmed yet, but maybe. That's like the big thing being
That'd be
tossed around.
really cool.
Apparently they offered the role of Geralt's mentor to like Mads Mikkelsen, Michael McKean. They both said no. And now they're like,
Wow.
they might be going to Mark Hamill. It's like, would you do it? But we'll see. We'll see what happens. Are they going to be less restrictive at Disney? Again, we'll have to see what happens with the new Disney
Yeah.
guy. Oh, and yes, Christopher Hivju. We already said that. I think we said that last week, right? Has joined the Witcher cast. Perfect. Face for fantasy.
Yes.
He's official now. He
It's
definitely
official. It
has,
wasn't
yeah.
official last week, but it is now.
They announced that there's a little list, so it's definitely happening. I'm sure he'll fit right in. He's playing basically, speaking of Disney, he's playing basically the Beast in a Beauty and the Beast kind of
Right,
twist of a
right.
story. I'm sure he'll do fine. Blah, 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 blah. And the CEO direct people to develop the Disney vision. Agreed. Oh, and as far as House of the Dragon casting goes, no. Zip, Louise, we haven't heard anything. The second we do, we will be so all over it, you won't be able to stop us. And I think that's it. Okay. Speaking of Disney, and speaking of Star Wars, maybe their biggest brand? I don't know. That's arguable.
Yeah.
They debuted a whole new thing. They're going to do... why don't you take this?
Okay.
'Cause frankly, I don't really quite get it. What is Star Wars The High Republic?
So the backstory is
It's not movies.
no, it's not movies. I think it's all books. It's all literature, including like novels.
Only
children's
Disney put in a
stories.
trailer for a bunch of books.
Yeah. So what they did was they were teasing this big thing for like a couple weeks now, at least, called Project Luminous. I don't really know how that relates. But anyway, people were
The
like,
color palette was very yellow on
it
the
is
poster.
very, there's some luminous things going on. They were like, oh, what is this going to be? And most people knew it wasn't going to be like new movies or new shows.
Because they're on hiatus right now.
Right. So what they wanted to do was they're like, okay, well, now that we've closed off the Skywalker saga, what can we do next to, start like picking around at the timeline and finding new stories?
To bring in Dabman.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm cynical. Just we bounce under.
Hilarious.
Go on.
So what they did was they had a little boardroom, and they created this in this trailer that they released the other day, and basically they had all these Star Wars authors come to kind of like brainstorm what do they want to see next. So there were
Like folks who have written like the tie-in novels and stuff.
Yeah, I believe so. It was a really like diverse range of authors and stuff. I think they're really trying to like push that and make sure the
Sure.
writing is more diverse, which I like. So yeah, they had like it literally looked like being at like in an office, and they've got the whiteboard and they're like writing things like
Yeah, I
what do
mean,
we want, like
It
dinosaurs.
looked like
and
a showrunner's room.
yeah, basically. So long story short, they chose the period just before
The prequels?
which they call right before I think like 200 years before the
Yeah.
prequels, during like the actual like peak time of the Jedi. So that's what we've got going on. So one of the novels,
The High
I think,
Republic,
yeah.
they
So that's
call
what they're calling this
That's
era.
the new brand of Star Wars content
Yeah.
to shove in your mouth
Yeah.
over the next
Which-
5 years or so.
Technically, I think I haven't read any of the legend stories, which was, just like spin-off novels and all
Right.
that stuff, which Disney promptly was like, none of that stuff is canon, sorry. Which that had a lot of backstory in it. So now it's kind of like under Disney, they're rewriting some of the canon. So all the stuff that, old fans might have read in the past is kind of like fan fiction now, unfortunately. I think
Right.
like Luke Skywalker, has a wife and all those sorts of
it's all
things.
Luke Skywalker went off to an island and was mad.
Yeah. So now they're kind of like re-envisioning the past. And there might have been some ideas that they're borrowing. So they have one novel that's out now called Light of the Jedi,
It's on August 5th, right?
which is out August 5th.
Yeah.
So these
this
are...
is phase 1.
Oh, yeah. I was like,
Because they're doing one of those
phase-
things.
Yeah.
This is a content roadmap, as they might say in the video game industry.
So they've got all these,
all
familiar
that yellow.
looking Jedi. What I think is interesting is that they put in the yellow lightsaber, which I think
Is that new?
had only been done one time before in like one of the cartoons recently. So otherwise, I think like George Lucas' original plan was just 2 colors, red and, oh gosh, was it blue?
I don't know, man.
And then they went back and they were like, oh, now we're going to add green. And then Samuel Jackson came along and then he was like, I want purple. And they're like, sure. And now they did Ray. So they're like, okay, we can have yellow too. So it kind of just doesn't matter. You can have whatever like saber color you want.
Yellow is always the worst flavor of like Laffy Taffy, M&M,
yeah,
all that
banana.
stuff. So.
I'm not. I mean, if you like yellow lightsaber, then that's cool. So that's what's going on there. They say, and they're coming up with a new group of villains too, which they kind of compare to like the Vikings.
And like Space Vikings.
Space Vikings, yeah. So that should be interesting.
And it's a whole like network. So we have like this Light of the
Yeah.
Jedi novel, which is like a book.
Yeah.
The first thing to come out. But they also have lots of plans. They got
What else is
what
there?
is a middle grade book? Can you tell me that?
I'm thinking like something you pick up at school, maybe like 5th or 6th grade, middle school. 5th, 6th, maybe 7th grade at the most.
Because that follows a middle grade book.
Wait, this one is the middle grade book?
No, this is the novel.
That's the novel.
This is for adults.
Okay,
This is the
for-
adult Space Ninjas. The middle grade is A Test of Courage by
Yes.
Justina Ireland. And then they have other things. They have
Yeah.
Star Wars Adventures, a comic book by Marvel.
Yeah,
They
Marvel
got
is doing
Into
that.
the Dark by Claudia Gray, which is another book, a real book.
Yes.
And then another comic.
I think I read one of the Claudia Gray novels.
Yeah, I mean, as you said, all these people are
her.
Star Wars authors.
Yeah.
So, okay, here's my question to you. I mean, A, are you interested?
You know what? It's something that I'm interested in. I'd have to see like what the premise of the stories are. But I do think it's kind of like an interest. I do feel like at one point or another, this is going to be used as like base material, script material for TV shows and spin-offs.
That was going to be my
That was
big
your second question. I
Because,
think, yeah.
like, we heard before Benioff and Weiss, like, walked away, were let go, or fired, however you want to phrase
Yeah.
it, from the Star Wars trilogy. The word was they were going to make a Star Wars trilogy movies set kind of in the past of the Republic. I mean, it might have been during the Old Republic, and I'm not a Star Wars expert, so I don't know all the difference, but this sounds like vague enough. My question is this stuff that was supposed to be used for movies that they've now repurposed?
Ooh.
While they figure out what the hell they're going to do with the on-screen stuff?
That I really don't know. I think, oh man. It to me sounds...
Because that's what I thought when I started to read through it. I'm like, this sounds kind of like what Benioff and Weiss were going to do.
It could
I wonder
be.
if they got cold feet and are like, let's go back to the drawing board, think about the movies for a while, but we can't like not be putting out Star Wars stuff every 8 seconds, so we got to do something else.
I could definitely see that being a thing where they're like, let's hold on, let's get some like actual good writers on board to kind of sort this thing out before we make a mess of things. But yeah, it should be interesting. Like if you like Star Wars in general, maybe it's going to be fascinating. I tend to like if I do, I think I've read like 2 of the novels, so not all of them. But I only read them because it was like, oh well, Princess Leia is in this, or it's telling me something more about the series as a whole, the Skywalker saga. So they could come up with some like new compelling characters that would be interesting, but I don't know. Also, maybe it's because I need to find time to read and not like be watching TV or being on YouTube or Twitter.
Books on tape, I'm really working for me. I'm almost at the end of The Eye of the World and The Wheel of Time.
Yeah.
Book on tape, listen to it as I do a commute, do showers, whatever.
That's so
It's great. I mean, is that still reading if you do a book on tape? Am I still reading a book if I listen to it on tape?
To me, it counts. You're still getting your dose of literature.
I think so. I try to read too, but I'm interested in this stuff. It's like more as an example of how Disney is handling the brand. It's like I don't know. I'm probably not going to read Star Wars books. It's just not up my alley.
Oh yeah. No.
But I do find it fascinating how they're handling this because it's one of their biggest assets. As I said, they're one of the biggest entertainment companies in the world. They have to handle it gingerly, well, and effectively. And I do think this is kind of their bridge between where they ended with Rise of Skywalker and whatever the next movies end up being.
Yeah, just something to hold us over and create like a whole new universe. I mean, you'll get fan art out of this. People imagining the characters. You have fan art
already, I'm sure. Yeah. That yellow lightsaber is starting a lot of fan art already.
Fan castings, that should be fun. So there's a lot that you can spin off just from these books.
All right. That's enough for Star Wars today, although this is a very sci-fi focused show, and The Chair also. Yeah. Are you done with Westworld, Mia?
I am. Hurrah.
Did you enjoy it? Did you enjoy the second season?
Oh my gosh, what a wild ride.
It was a pretty wild ride.
I did enjoy it. I enjoyed some of like the twists that they had planned. Again, I don't know like how much spoiler we can be. Well, we're going to talk about season 3 in a second. But
Terry says it counts, by the way, that me reading the book, so good.
Yay. But yeah, I overall I liked it.
I'm sorry, but Julie says it's not reading, it's listening to a book, so we have a debate.
Not technically reading. Oh man, agreed with Julie. Nicole says, well.
Darn.
Just imagine the words,
right,
like as you're hearing them.
By a vote of 3-1, I am not reading The Wheel of Time when I listen to it.
You are not. I'm sorry. Goodbye.
Okay, fair enough. Anyway, you were saying
so Westworld was strange, as you said. It took some really, really weird turns, but I think overall I kind of liked the direction. I was never like dissatisfied with anything. And now this past week they released technically another trailer for Westworld. I did my research. The first trailer came out in Comic-Con during 2019, which I wasn't into it back then, so I didn't know about it. But so between July and February is a really big leap to not have a trailer. So I was happy to see some new stuff.
Yeah, and now we have a brand new one, and I'm back on board. Let's watch the trailer for Westworld to come out next month. All right. I'm sorry. By the way, if you guys want to watch the full trailers, you can just tell us. I tend to like not want to do the whole thing because we have places to be. All of us collectively. Yeah. Anyway, so Westworld for me, I watched the second season. I watched the first season. I liked it a lot. I thought the second season meandered pretty badly. I wanted them to stop talking about the Valley Beyond and the gate, all these stupid buzzwords that I didn't know what they meant. I didn't think they know what they meant.
Yeah.
It seemed to be up its butt a little bit. The third season, I will say that looks interesting.
Does it?
So what I like about Westworld is how incredibly bleak it is. Like, this is a sci-fi show about robots getting sentience that I think the thesis basically is humans are trash, humans are garbage, robots are better. Like, I'm not sure if we're supposed to root for Dolores Abernathy's quest to overthrow humanity and usher in a new glorious age of robot rule, or if she's the villain or what. But the fact that there's ambiguity at all makes you think, like, you don't think much of humanity, do you? Which is
Yeah.
kind of interesting.
Yeah, there's a really big theme. Now, I actually took a whole college class on this.
A whole
An
college
entire
class.
college class. It was called Robot. And this was kind of like before I knew that I liked this stuff. It was called Robots and Religion. And it was basically about this
pretty cool.
premise. And what I kind of gathered from season 2 and kind of like what they're going into now is that, like, it's kind of like we're not so different, you and I, like the thing between robots and
Classic, yeah.
humans.
I think she literally says that in the trailer at one point.
And then, yeah, she says it to, I think, Aaron
To
Paul.
Aaron Paul, Caleb,
and then,
which is a biblical ass name they're putting in
Ooh.
this. Yeah.
and then also the thing about, like, humans and making choices and, like, there is no free will and, like, you think you're making choices on your own and you're not really. One of the kind of, like, Easter eggs in this thing, have you seen, like, you've seen, like, the hidden trailers and all that stuff. I think one thing they're trying
Yeah,
to...
just really quick. They've been putting out like a lot of trailers. One of them was kind of recut Dolores and Aaron Paul to be like
a
romantic
rom-com,
comedy.
yeah.
Which I like. I like they were having fun with themselves, poking fun at themselves.
Yeah.
I think that's...
Yeah, it was like one of the lighter trailers.
One of my problems with the second season was like that you guys took yourselves real seriously.
Yeah.
Like, this is a show about killer robots. Like, let's have a little bit of fun here.
I think I kind of like the serious, like, nature. Well, yeah, that's the thing. There's something so distinct to me about, like, the first episode where it's just Westworld. You're finding out these little mysteries, and then, yeah, things really kind of spiral. But I think as far as, like, the debate thing goes about, like, oh, you know, discovering that humans are, well, okay, I do feel like that's kind of being shoved down your throat. You know, like, humans are bad. Humans are basically
It's
machines.
not subtle.
Yeah. Whereas, like, kind of like with the library scene at the end of season
I remember,
2,
yeah.
where he's like, I found out that humans were more simple than I thought. I was making everything so complex. And then I found out that they're just, you know, a bunch of simple things and they think they're making their own decisions, but they're really not. And it's like, well, thanks. I feel great.
I mean, again, it impressed me because, like, this is like a show that has a ton of money behind it, and a ton of
Yeah.
support. And, like, we're going to give you millions of dollars and say we're all crap. Good for you. Like, I'm glad they're going there.
Yeah. I would really,
I feel like if it wasn't HBO, there'd be like, we want a more human positive message for this.
yeah.
Because most of our viewers are humans, our market research
Yeah.
shows, and we should probably
Most
be
of them.
supporting
Most of them. Some of them are AI. I think,
Some of them are
yeah,
dogs.
if I could go back and fix anything, I feel like it would just be to kind of like make sure they didn't lean too far like into escaping into the real world. And I would have just had liked to seen things more Westworld like I mean, things have just veered so far offhand now, but there's just something nice about like being in the parks
Mm-hmm.
and like, yeah, maybe exploring the other parks. That's stuff I'm open to, which as we saw, there's going to be, which is terrible
Like
to say.
World War II
Yeah,
world.
World War II land.
Which,
There's
like,
gonna be
why wouldn't you wanna go
yeah,
there?
Yeah. And so there's a lot of mysteries to uncover, which
There is,
I guess I like the mystery aspect of it, finding out like what's going on with the park, finding out, you know, who's selling information and all that. That's going to be really huge. Oh, privacy and data.
Oh,
it's going to be really
completely.
huge. Yeah, a lot of
I mean,
Facebook themes and all that.
The show does like tap into some really trenchant current issues, which I
Yeah.
like. Like, my favorite thing about it is that it goes big. Like, it's not afraid to like tackle big themes. I do think it could be a little subtler and could be a
Yeah.
little repetitive about it.
And
But
you know what?
I do like that it goes there.
I think that pushes it into Black Mirror theme because the whole I
Totally.
do get that Black Mirror's purpose.
This is basically a Black Mirror
is
episode
to
for
make
a
you
series.
it's to make you think about these topics. It's like, what if something that we have now was pushed like just a little bit further into the absurd or like the not so absurd, to be honest. And so I think that's what this has kind of gone into. And again, I'm like, it's fun, it's fine, but maybe if they ease it up just a little bit, like
I think it needed a bit of a reset. So I'm happy at a change of setting. I think they'll do it good.
Yeah.
I think we got that a little bit lost in a tunnel last season with just being in the park. So I'm happy they're expanding the scope a little bit.
I wish there was some Teddy this season. So that's,
He got his reward. Poor Teddy. He was so upset.
I know, but I want
And now
back.
he lives in digital heaven or whatever the hell that's supposed to be.
It's not
Where's
fair.
that server?
I
don't know.
It's up in the cloud.
I think well, yeah, but the cloud runs because there's like a server bay in Wyoming or something. It's like if you torch that thing, Teddy is gone.
No,
that's all I'm saying.
Don't say that.
Oh, totally. Like we're way off topic, but I remember thinking about that like when the season 2 thing aired. They were like, he's in digital heaven now. Yeah, but like, where's digital heaven stored? Like, what competing power is that running on? Like, it's on like a satellite or something. Yeah. Like that can get shot down. He's not safe. Is all I'm saying.
Jeez,
we can still get him.
Rain on my parade.
He's safe for now. And finally, in sci-fi, Mia, how is this season of Doctor Who going?
You know what?
Season 12.
It's pretty exciting. I took a break-ish from Doctor Who.
Doctor 12.
I like that actually, Doctor 12. They've been setting up this interesting storyline. They always have like an overall arc, that's kind of like set up in between things. So right now they're bringing the Cybermen back, which is interesting.
And the Master.
So they've got a brand new Master too. And gosh, where do I even begin? So this is what kind of like dubbed as the Lone Cybermen, which actually John Barrowman, I never know how to say his last name. He came back as Harkness.
Yeah, Jack Harkness.
Jack Harkness. And he never actually met the Doctor, but he told the companions, he was like, warn her about the Lone Cybermen. There's something going on. And so right now, the Doctor kind of goofed. She gave the this lone Cyberman something that like contains all the knowledge about like Cyberman history or something, even though Jack Harkness was like, don't let him do it, don't let him have it. And so the Doctor kind of messed up history or something like that, because the Cybermen are all about like taking the human race and turning them into machines, which talk about that Westworld crossover.
Totally, yeah. I mean, this is a sci-fi kind of week we're having here.
Yeah, it's a big sci-fi week. So this past Sunday was like the penultimate episode of like a 2-part finale,
That's quick.
where they're like, I can't believe it's already, where they're like, they find themselves like trapped on a big Cyberman ship, and they're like cornered. And there's like this whole other story about their home planet of Gallifrey, and the Master kind of like blew it up or something. There's a lot of big question marks.
There's a lot of going
to be
on,
honest. And I'm like, how are they going to wrap this up?
Have you been satisfied though with the season?
Have I been
I
satisfied?
haven't been watching it. I have watched the show, but I haven't given up this one.
Yeah.
Has it been good? Because it's been getting some criticism. People have been saying like the ratings are down a little bit. People are, I mean, I hate those, like, it's too woke, whatever that means, but
yeah, there's been a lot.
Have you been enjoying the season?
You know what? No, I really am enjoying this, and I think that it's interesting, because I think, like, the Peter Capaldi era is when I fell off. And I think that was just because when Stephen Moffat was the showrunner, I felt like he was kind of losing some steam. He had his moments, though.
Right.
And so this one I feel like is kind of, even though I need to go finish the previous season as well, because that to me was getting kind of slow.
That one.
But this one to me is interesting. I think the Doctor, Jodie Whittaker, is doing better. Out of the companions, I think Graham is the best. And the other two, Ryan and Yaz, are just kind of there, unfortunately. But no, I think
they might not all return next season.
Yeah, I can definitely see that happening. Usually that happens where like, a companion gets shipped off or something like at the end of the season. So I kind of felt, I was like, ooh, is that coming this season? That kind of happened with like Bill Potts with Peter Capaldi. It was very tragic, like Cyberman story, and all of that. But there's also a funny rumor about Graham, the old, the guy, other guy.
Yeah, the older guy, the bus driver.
Who they were like, is he the Doctor? This is a whole big thing right now.
Oh, yeah, I heard it because he was kissed on the lips by Jack Harkness.
Yeah. Well, it was that, and then this past episode, he said something where it sounded like he was going to say, I'm the Doct, but he caught himself and he said something else. And now everybody's like, ooh, there's that big twist that's coming. So I personally think that the stutter was just like him being like, messing up his lines,
joke,
unfortunately. like human error, basically. It wasn't intentional. Right. But then again, if he wants to be the Doctor, we already had another Doctor this season, so the more the merrier.
So it sounds like you are enjoying it. So that's
I am, yeah. The long, the short of it.
There has been discourse.
Yeah, I mean, I really don't. I could see why people would, the wokeness maybe is a change if that's what you want to call it.
I just wonder if it's been going on a while now, the show.
Yeah.
I mean, this is the 12th season. Even if you have regenerating characters.
Yeah.
I don't know, 12 years is a long way time to go.
It's a lot to keep up with. And I do, like, I kind of have, like, my favorite period where it's, like, David Tennant was great. I kind of, like, came in with Matt Smith, too, so I liked him. So it's kind of like once you change that, oh, God, what are the comments?
Nothing. No, keep going. I'll read it afterwards.
Okay.
But it's great.
But yeah, so it's like once you kind of get out of the people that like Matt Smith is gone, David Tennant's gone. It's like, is it worth me watching? I kind of like went through this whole run. But I'm liking Jodie Whittaker, so it's fine.
Yeah, I enjoyed the last season. And I will catch up with this one when I can. I mean, I do wonder if maybe like a little break might be nice. Not because I hate the like it's too woke. Doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
But just it's been on for 12 years. Maybe a little
like wrap
reset.
It up at some point.
It should have had a woman doctor like 2 doctors ago is what I think. Like where it's unfortunate that like it's kind of winding down now. And people are gonna blame it on like it's a female doctor. People aren't watching. Like no, it's 12 seasons in. And people are starting to get a little bored.
Yeah, all long shows are going down. I think like Walking Dead is losing ratings and all.
Although it's still so popular.
Yeah.
Okay, I have to read this comment from Jen Casey. And Julie Davies, by the way, thank you for thanking us for covering Doctor Who. Yeah, happy to cover Doctor Who. It's a big show. Jen Casey says, I hope this show, your show here, Dan, stays around a long time because I would miss y'all. Thank you, Jen. Very nice. And like to see that other little fella come back again, too. And I have to assume... later, you say, Jen... I think so. Skinny glasses. He was cool too. Yes, that is definitely Josh Hill, the little guy, skinny glasses. I cannot wait to relay this information to him
Josh,
a little
he's
later.
Gonna be delighted.
We will have him back. I'm trying to get more folks on here. We had Reba on a couple of weeks ago to do Outlander. I want her to come back to do Outlander a little later.
Yeah.
Because she's sapping it up for us. And yeah, we'll be happy to get that little guy back on here to talk about something or other. Just gotta find someone he's into. And if you do like this show, we're also available in podcast form to listen to at your leisure on iTunes, Google, wherever podcasts are available. We also got the Wick Club, where we do extra videos.
He's with us in spirit.
There
it's
he
him.
is.
Hello.
It's the little guy skinny with glasses.
That should just be his Twitter bio.
I'm sorry, Jen. I don't mean to make fun of you. No. I love that.
Yeah.
It's really accurate. And we will be back here next week, Wednesday, 4 p.m. Central Time.
Sure will.
We're supposed to talk about more, news, reviews, analysis, insights, and to talk to you guys again.
Yeah.
So we will see you then, and have a great week.
Bye.
Bye.